Hello, everyone. Before we begin, let me ask you some questions. How many languages do you speak? One, two, or three? Perhaps even more? Maybe one, maybe two, perhaps even more. Now think about this. Have you ever wondered um, why children learn their first language so easily, while adults often struggle to learn a second language? Or why we instantly recognize when someone has a different accent, or why a single sentence have different meanings depending on the speaker's tone. These are the kinds of questions that linguistics tries to answer. Today, we are going to explore what linguistics is, what it studies, and why it is important in our daily lives. So, what is linguistics? Many people think linguistics is simply learning many languages. In fact, that's one of the biggest misconceptions because linguistics is not about how many languages you know. It is a scientific study of language itself. Imagine uh, linguists investigate how languages are formed, how they work, how people acquire them, and how languages change over time, and how language influences communication and society. So, think of language as machine. Most people know how the machine works, right? But not everybody knows how does the machine work inside. The people who know how the machine works are the people who speak the language. But linguists are people who want to know how the machine works inside. They study its structure, rules, patterns, and functions. They want to know how the machine is formed, how the language is formed, structured, and etc. So, what does linguistics study in this case? Linguistics studies first sounds, second words, third sentences, four meaning, five communication itself. Now let's see closely to each of them. Why do English speakers pronounce the word think differently from sink? And why do some people say water with clear T, like water, while others pronounce it almost like water, with hardly understandable T sound? This area in linguistics is called phonetics and phonology, which studies speech sounds and pronunciations. This is one of the areas of linguistics, one of the areas within the linguistics. Second was words. How are new words created? What words like selfie, podcast, emoji, and hashtag? They are they are frequently used nowadays, but they didn't exist. Let's say a few decades ago. Let's say in 2000s, the word selfie didn't exist, and the word hashtag, and the same was the word podcast. Today, millions of people use them every day, and the study of word formation is called morphology, which is another aspect, another area in linguistics. Sentence. Why is this sentence correct? Let's look at the sentence. She is reading a book. Why can't we say she is book reading? Or why can't we say reading she book is a? Because they are incorrect. And how do we know that they are incorrect? Because of the rules that linguists have created and because of the rules that linguistics includes has. Next was meaning. Sometimes words have more than one meaning. Imagine your friend texts you, I'll meet you at the bank. Do they mean a river bank or a financial institution? How do we know? Of course, we know from the context. You understand the correct meaning because of the context, And this area is called semantics, which is another area, another direction in linguistics. And the fifth was communication. Suppose your teacher says, "It's a little warm in here." What do you understand? Do you go and close the door or close the window or vice versa? Do you go and open the window? Probably you open the window because you understand that it is warm inside and this is causing like not very good condition for your teacher, right? Most students immediately understand that the teacher actually wants someone to open the window. And this is pragmatics. Understanding intended meaning rather than literal meaning is the field of pragmatics. Even if the teacher doesn't say to open the window directly, students understand it because of the pragmatics. This is another big area within the linguistics. So, we have looked at what linguistics studies. Now, let's answer the question, why do we need linguistics? Different people or the people of different jobs need linguistics for similar purposes. For example, every conversation, every social media post, every advertisement, every movie, every classroom lesson, and every AI chatbot depends on language. Yes, AI chatbot also depends on the language. Linguistics helps us to understand communication more effectively. For example, teachers use linguistics to improve language teaching. Translators use linguistics to choose the most accurate meanings. And speech therapists use linguistic knowledge to help people with communication disorders. Writers use it to create clearer and more persuasive texts. Even companies like Google, Microsoft, and OpenAI employ linguists to improve machine translation, voice assistants, and artificial intelligence, and the analysis of automated texts, and etc. For example, when you ask ChatGPT a question, linguistic principles help the AI understand grammar, vocabulary, meaning, and context of your question. They are taught linguistics. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to answer your questions at all. You see how linguistics is essential in our life. So it's not a science which is very far away from real life. It is really connected to our daily use of the language. Linguistics and learning English. As English learners, linguistics give us a lot of practical advantages. Instead of memorizing grammar rules without understanding them, we begin to see patterns. Instead of learning vocabulary randomly, we understand how words are connected. Instead of translating every sentence into our first language, we learn to think about meaning, context, and communication. As a result, learning becomes easier and more meaningful. So, now let's look at fun facts. There are over 7,000 languages spoken around the world. A new word enters English almost every day. There are over there are no two people who speak exactly the same way, not even identical twins. Every healthy child learns a language naturally without attending grammar classes. Remember the time when you learned how to speak correctly in your native language. Did you learn some grammar rules? Did you attend some grammar classes? No, because every healthy child learns the language naturally. And isn't that incredible? So linguistics deals with these kind of questions: how, why, what for, and etc. Now we are concluding our today's video lecture. And we have learned that linguistics is a scientific study of language. It examines sounds, words, sentence structure, meaning, and communication. It helps us to understand not only how language works, but also how people think, interact, and connect with one another. Whether you become a teacher, translator, researcher, writer, or simply someone who wants to communicate more effectively, linguistics provides valuable knowledge that you can use throughout your life. The next time you hear someone speaking with a different accent, notice a new word on social media, or misunderstand a text message, remember this: language is much more than words. It is one of the most remarkable abilities that humans possess. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for being till the end of our video lectures. See you in the next lectures. Goodbye.